teaching that goes along with it.
For Anne, having a family of adopted children is the realization of a childhood dream that began after seeing the film Oliver, a story of orphan boys.
I was 9 years old, and I walked out of that movie telling everybody I was going to adopt orphan boys, and they pretty much laughed at me.
By the time she was 19, Anne was a licensed foster parent, and within a year and a half, had 8 children in her care.
But at the same time, you know, I was searching for a partner and knew that it would probably have to be somewhat of a unique person to want to get involved in this type of lifestyle.
Eventually, over the internet, she met her husband, Jim. Jim has been confined to a wheelchair for over 15 years after breaking his neck in a swimming accident. Today, he is a quadriplegic with limited use of his hands.
It slowed me down a lot. I was kind of living too fast, too much, too quick, and it just slowed me down and forced me to really appreciate life for what it was. Just to enjoy it, live it.
Jim and Anne have been married 5 years now, and their family has grown from 8 to 22 children. They are currently in the process of legally adopting all of them.
Having a disability and parenting disabled children is really an advantage because I'm a positive role model for my children. You know, somebody in a wheelchair can be successful in business.
I am his vendor for supported living through the Region Center of Orange County.
In order to support this ever-growing family, the Silcocks run an agency that manages the care of disabled adults.
So if they need a paid roommate, we find and interview and hire that roommate. If they need a recreational therapist, if they need a driver, if they need a support person at the college, whatever their needs are, and those needs are obviously individualized, we facilitate that and we get the funding and we pay the people to provide those services.
Volunteers from the community and a full-time staff of 6, some with their own physical challenges, help organize everything from grocery shopping to 25 daily loads of laundry to making sure all the kids take their scheduled medications.
Scott needs to go at 5:15 to get Nikolai and George.
A portion of Anne and Jim's day must also be spent scheduling medical appointments, after-school activities, and dealing with the special needs of their children.
We still need the baseball player.
For the Silcocks, even a simple family outing requires advanced planning to coordinate their fleet of 4 minivans, all retrofitted for wheelchairs.
Because of the large size of our family, we've learned that the best way to get things accomplished is split up tasks and delegate them.
Anne and Jim have found that the love and responsibility they give their children has had tremendous impact on the kids' development.
Kids that nobody thought would walk are walking. Kids that couldn't talk are talking. All of the children attend school with their typical peers. They're fully included. They're invited to birthday parties. They're having relationships. And they're learning from being around typical children. And they're benefiting from all those experiences. And, you know, again, these were kids that could have been living in nursing homes, you know, basically doing nothing. 41327, thanks, bye-bye.
I'm
sorry, yeah.
You can't say my last word for the computer.
Oh yeah, hold on 1 second.
That's certainly the case with 18-year-old Barry, who was born with spina bifida, an incomplete closure in the spinal column. Spina bifida has left Barry with multiple physical and medical challenges that will most likely decrease his life expectancy.
I think that we always wanted to make sure that Barry had permanency, that he wasn't moved around from foster home and foster home to facility.
For the 10 years that Barry has lived with the Silcocks, his biological family has been reluctant to approve a legal adoption. Now 18, Barry is legally able to make his own decisions.
I mean, literally, the day he became 18, he said, I want you to adopt me. But he really wanted to have a family, and he's been here for a long time, and so this is his family. You know, although we have always treated him like our son, he knew that it wasn't permanent, it wasn't final, and it was his desire to be adopted.
Despite his extreme physical challenges and need for daily medical supervision, having a place to call home has allowed Barry to flourish. Now Jim and Anne prepare to fulfill his wish and make Barry an official member of the family.
I think that we have proven in our family that children who were once labeled unadoptable can be adopted, and they can benefit from the advantages of having parents.
After years as Barry's foster parents, Jim and Anne Silcock are finally able to proceed with adopting Barry and making him a permanent member of the family, Barry's dream since early childhood.
Like when I was born, I was having trouble from the get-go, like with my breathing and where my brain swelled up from all the pressure going to my head.
Due to the severity of his disabilities and the enormous responsibility of his medical care, his birth parents relinquished him to a state hospital. Born with a severe form of spina bifida, hydrocephalus, or excess fluid in the brain, and a seizure disorder, Barry is dependent on a feeding tube to eat and a urostomy pouch to empty his bladder. He also has paralyzed vocal cords and reactive airway disease, which requires him to use a tracheostomy to breathe.
I think a person with a disability like myself should have a family and not having to worry about being like outcasted like some mental person with problems.
Barry spent the first 7 years of his life in a state institution, sharing a ward with children in comas. One day while visiting his hospital, Anne noticed Barry and inquired about being his foster parent.
And the people at the state hospital really loved Barry and really felt strongly that if he were to move into the community, move into a foster home, he would die. He had multiple health needs, and they really felt that his health needs could be best met in an institution.
But after a year of negotiations and very specialized medical training, Anne and Jim were allowed to take Barry to their home.
He was living on the third floor of a state hospital. He was very rarely going outside due to either staffing issues or his health issues. When he joined our family, he would not touch grass. He wouldn't hold a pencil. He was afraid of dogs. All the things that typical children experience.
I was kind of nervous at first, and I thinking, oh boy, he's gonna be another one of those hospitals like Jason. I love my family, and I would never, ever, ever give them up.
Barry has flourished since living with the Silcocks. However, a nursing staff must still assist him with his daily medical and living needs.
Couple more times. Despite all of his medical complications, he's very strong-willed. No matter what surgery he has, he bounces back within 1 to 2 days in his good spirit, and nothing can seem to bring him down.
Barry was not always confined to a wheelchair, but complications from a recent spinal surgery left him without feeling in both of his legs.
See you when you get home, Bear. Drive careful. Bye-bye.
What keeps me going is thinking about my family every day, and thinking about my friends at school, and thinking about my future. That what keeps me going.
Barry is currently a high school senior and will graduate in a few months.
Sometimes I get people that are a little shy coming up to me, and it's okay that they're scared of me. I don't mind it. But when they say something rude to me, that like turns me off.
Barry is just sort of an easygoing guy, and some of the little guys look up to him, and he tries to be the big brother, have the big brother role in many ways, and in some ways he's a typical teenager. He doesn't want to be bothered with his little brother.